and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library television show featuring all things about programs regarding the Peoria Public Library. I'm Stacy Peterson. I'm sitting in for Tricia Nowak, and I am part of the programming department at Peoria Public Library. And tonight our guest is Carla Wilkinson. Hello, Carla.
Hello.
Also another guest from the Peoria Public Library programming department. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the rest of the programs that we have offered at our library branches in March and going into April, because there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on.
A lot going on with all of our many locations. So I guess we should probably start with main library. I always like to introduce the idea of our art gallery. A lot of people who haven't visited the library in a while may not realize that we have a gallery. So tell us what's going on in March.
Well, in March, we are finishing up Blue World, Green World, which is beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to see it, come down and see it. This is beautiful stuff, and you know a little bit more about the show specifically.
I do. It's for the second month in a row, we're actually showing fiber art.
Yes.
And we've had fiber art in the gallery before. We had our quilt show, which was incredibly popular. And this time we've got actually textile arts that are using mixed media, multimedia, and the topics range from conceptual to realistic. Truly, we've never had anything like this.
We haven't, and it's amazing to look at these pieces and see what these artists can do. It's beautiful and imaginative and just
detailed.
Yeah, detailed.
You know, I think every time you and I have been in there, we always comment that we see something new. And this is a very interesting exhibit. For the first time in Peoria, we have this collective group it's a Society of American Quilting Artists. They travel around internationally showing off their work. They're based out of Chicago. And this came to fruition due to our relationship with Trish Williams, who was our February featured solo exhibit in the gallery. She is actually part of this collective group. And so we have 34 pieces of art with 16 different artists. We just had a reception on March 8th, and it was a hit. It was so nice to celebrate these people who didn't know what to expect when they walked into a library, and then were, of course, blown away by the gallery. So we've got until the end of the month to see those pieces. And then we're going to do a complete 180.
Yes.
And we're going to bring back another returning show in April. And what is that?
That's the 18th District Congressional Art Show, sponsored by our Congressman Aaron Schock, and this is artwork from area high school students, and anything goes with this show. We get some really incredible pieces from these young artists.
We do. We get a multitude of pieces. I think last year we tipped the scales, at 300 plus pieces.
It's a tight squeeze.
It's a tight squeeze, but we make it in there. And the nice thing is that the award winner, there will be 10 people selected and recognized for their achievement in art. And then out of those 10, one person, the congressman will pick one piece to hang in the Capitol for 1 year in D.C. I mean, that is quite a treat.
It is.
And also, too, the congressman's benefit, I guess we could say, something that he's done that nobody else has done to my knowledge. This has been an exhibit that's been open to 2D art. And every congressional district has the opportunity of exhibiting art and acknowledging their local talent. However, Congressman Schock felt that 3D artists also needed to be represented. So he opened up in his district pieces of sculpture and ceramic, and Peoria certainly has a huge amount of ceramicists and sculptors in the area, so it was kind of a natural tie-in to see that. And also, Congressman Schock puts on a lovely reception.
Yes.
He brings in live music, he has refreshments, he acknowledges the teachers, the parents, the artists themselves, and that will actually be a closing reception this year on May 3rd from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and we will be doing kind of a progressive. We'll have the reception in the gallery, and we'll do the awards down in the auditorium, and if people want to go into Friendly Finds, they can pick out a book and support our friends group.
Absolutely.
While they're there. So that'll be kind of nice. So that's good. We've got the gallery covered. Another returning program that we always have, Music in the Mackenzie.
Yes.
Can you tell us who's playing and when in March?
March 30th, the end of March, Trillium. And I believe they've been here before.
They have. They have. This is their second time at the North Branch. They have a hammered dulcimer, they have a banjo, they have a violin. They play everything from Celtic music to bluegrass to Dixieland. It seemed like a good fit for March with St. Patrick's Day. And they were very, very well received. We don't like to necessarily bring back returning people. We like to give other people a chance, but boy, people loved Trillium. So that'll be really nice. A week before that, though, in the same room, we're going to have the Central Illinois Youth Symphony. And these are some fantastic young performers. They're going to play from 2 to 3, classical music, absolutely free. Maybe people who don't get the opportunity to go out to the symphony or don't want to invest in a ticket to Heartland Festival Orchestra might want to come out and see some of these incredible young people just blow our minds with their classical music and their talent. So, and I can't believe I'm saying this. It doesn't feel right, but spring is going to be coming here, and that means kids are going to be going to school, and some of them will be going to college. So what is our returning program that we have on March 24th?
We have private consultant Marla Brady, and she's doing a college prep series at the North Branch. So this is getting parents and students ready for college. There are lots of things that you need to know, and she can help you in that process.
She is a retired principal, retired school administrator. Now she goes and does private consulting, not just for individuals, but she even talks to big organizations and businesses. And I think it can be a really scary process. It's been a long time since I've had to think about going to college. But I think that she can kind of help parents and children understand that transition and not only make it easier for them, but financially find ways to make it easier for parents. It's so expensive, whether you go to a state school or a private school or even a junior college nowadays. So finishing out in March, we have 2 exciting things going on March 31st. One of them is our artist Trish Williams, who's working with the February and the March exhibit, will be making a fiber postcard from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the Beehive at the North Branch. So ages 6 and up, kids can come and they can use an iron and a sewing machine and glue. And Trish is going to actually sit down and show you. You're going to learn from a master artist how to craft something beautiful. And then if you want to part with it and send it to somebody you care about, she'll help you do that. And then a couple hours later, from 6 o'clock until 7 or 8, local author Bob Good is going to be speaking in the seminar room. Bob is a character. He's self-published 2 books. He has been selling his books at farmers markets. He sells them down where the carts sell their lunches. And these are works of fiction, but he's also managed to take in themes of community relation and having a stake in your community and being a productive member of society and present it in a way that is very clever, is in a story form, and you'll get a chance to first work with an artist, with Trish, and then if you want to pick the brain of a working author, you'll get to hang out with Bob Good. So March will be going out like a lion.
Yes,
at the North
we're
Branch.
jam-packing it.
Jam-packing it. April moves us into April.
Yes.
Something that is going on that's really exciting. It's been going on all year long, partnering with Bradley. Maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about Peoria Reads.
Sure, absolutely. We do this program every year, Peoria Reads, where we choose a book and we encourage the entire community to read it together. And this year, the theme is civil rights. So we are partnering with Bradley to hold some different programs throughout the year, and we have 1 in March and 2 in April. We're doing a film program. They created Equal Film Program, and March 22nd we're showing The Abolitionists. April 5th, Freedom Riders, and April 19th, The Loving Story. And each one of these films will be followed by a discussion led by a professor or a historian who's very familiar with the subject. And it's just a way of opening up dialogue with the community and starting a discussion about civil rights and what civil rights mean. And, it's still a relevant topic.
And if anybody actually had the opportunity to see the Changing American display that we had on the first floor of the main library, which showed the Emancipation Proclamation reflected with the civil rights marches, it's staggering to see and sobering to see how recent in our past this happened. And I think the one thing that I've really enjoyed in this partnership with Bradley is getting so many different age groups involved in celebrating and acknowledging these civil rights milestones. So you get young people who are attending Bradley, who certainly weren't around when these initial civil rights things happened, having conversations with people who lived through it. And that is so essential to understanding what happened in that situation, what's continuing to happen and grow, and keeping that dialogue at the forefront of everyone's minds. These have been wonderful partnerships and really eye-opening events for us.
Yes,
We've
and
enjoyed it.
you can check our calendar on our website to see more events that we'll be having, and find the times and locations for these events as well.
And certainly if they can't make it to a Peoria Public Library event, Bradley has had wonderful events
Yes.
open to the public, usually free as well. Some of the movies will be repeated. And it's certain, even if they show the same movie at both venues, the discussion is certain to be different. So
Yes.
you could, if you really enjoy something, go to Bradley and hear what Dr. Stacey Robertson has to say about it. And it could be a very different perspective. So what a fantastic opportunity we have. April's really exciting for the library. We get to celebrate something that in our community I don't think that we see very much of. It's National Poetry Month.
It is National Poetry Month, and for the second year in a row, we have a poetry contest, and this is open to all ages, from little kids who are just learning to write all the way up to people who are retired and like to write for fun. And all month long, you can submit your original work of poetry, and then they will have awards given, I believe, in different age categories.
Good.
And we're just encouraging people to write poetry. And I believe last year they posted these on our website. So we'll probably do that again, and so that everyone can share the poetry. And you think of the library, you think of books, fiction, nonfiction.
Right.
Poetry is a big part of literature as well.
It's huge. And, there are a lot of spoken word performances around town, but those happen late at night. A lot of times families or kids may not feel as comfortable going to those. Now, I do have a question. In writing these poems, do we need to worry about rhyme, stanza,
We don't.
form, haiku?
No.
It's anything goes.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Just poetry, free form.
Yes.
Send it in. We want to recognize you. Now, one of the most prominent writers, I think, in America, certainly on the East Coast, Edgar Allan Poetry. We're going to be doing a program on April 7th with some local authors in the seminar room. We're going to celebrate Edgar Allan Poe. Everybody loves that. It'll be a fun and exciting night in the seminar room. Certainly, it's going to be a perspective from a writer talking about Poe, just to kick this whole thing off. It's going to be a good time. And then what we thought was kind of interesting when we were looking at movies, we like to show movies every once in a while. And there are several movies that use a lot of poetic references in some way. It's kind of a sneaky way of feeding you some culture in a film. So we're going to celebrate those on April 21st, 23rd, and 25th. I believe it's 1 o'clock. And it's a Poetry in the Movies series. So we've got a movie about boxing with $1 Million Baby. We've got Awakenings, which is a true story written by Dr. Oliver Sacks. About people living in an assisted living facility and regaining consciousness due to drug testing. And we have 3 neurotic New York sisters in Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters. 3 movies you wouldn't think go together, but they all use poetry in some form. So we invite people to come down and spot your poetry and enjoy the incredible movie facilities in the Mackenzie Room.
Yes.
That'll be a good time. Then we are going to ask the public to do something that we haven't done in the recent past that I can think of. We want them to
Show me your library card. This is April is also, there's National Library Week.
Yes.
And so as part of that, we're asking students in District 150 schools specifically to show us your library card. We're going to have a friendly competition and try to get as many students signed up for library cards as we can.
Yes.
So we're asking any District 150 student in any grade to go to your school library, or better yet, come to the public library and show us your library card. And we're going to keep track of how many students from each school have a valid library card, and the schools will get some great incentives. The top winner in the K through 8 and the high school categories will get some books for their libraries.
Oh my gosh.
Bragging rights,
Yes.
which are big. We're going to try to make this a regular thing because we want to encourage kids to read. And in order to help students show us their library card, we have a great agreement with the state library where they're allowing us to give residents of West Peoria who go to a District 150 school a library card.
And this is unheard of. We've never done this before.
Yes, because West Peoria is not technically in our library district.
Right.
Those students previously did not have access to the public library. But because of our partnership with District 150, we're able to offer student library cards to those students.
Yes.
So we want to get library cards into as many hands as we can.
And for those students.
Yes.
Have them use it. This is going to be a great time to push for this.
Yes.
Summer's going to be around the corner. They are going to want to come into the air-conditioned loveliness of all of our buildings and participate in summer reading.
Absolutely.
So, boy, if you've got your card, you're already going to be halfway ready to go and read some books and win some more fabulous prizes in the summer.
Yes.
So this is exciting, and I don't want kids to think, well, you know, Peoria Central, they've got a ton of kids. It's a huge school. Well, you might have a lot of kids in your school, too. So let's get out there and see who is going to show us their library card.
Yeah. Tell all your friends.
To all your friends. Bragging rights are a good thing. Prizes are a good thing, too. And we've got an awful lot of readers in our community, so that'll be a good time. Another way that we get to people, and we get to people all over town, not just high schoolers, we have our lovely bookmobile. We love our bookmobile. And we don't often get to celebrate the bookmobile. But we've got something coming up where we get to do that.
Yes, April 14th is National Bookmobile Day.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
So we are having a bookmobile open house. Maybe a lot of people don't know that we have a bookmobile. You don't have an opportunity to catch it on one of its routes.
Yep.
It's going to be parked at its nighttime home, the North Branch.
Yes.
And on April 14th, you can come out and tour the bookmobile. They're going to have some activities going on, maybe some treats. And then for the 2 weeks following that day, they're going to have a giant jar of animal crackers. I haven't seen it, so I can only imagine.
It sounds captivating.
Yes. And they want you to guess how many animal crackers are in the jar.
What if they're broken? Does that count?
I don't know.
That'll be a question for bookmobile staff.
Yeah, that's in the eye of the counter, I
Yes.
suppose. And then they're going to be giving out some gift cards to Barnes & Noble for the people with the correct guess.
That's
or
fantastic.
close to the correct guess.
Close to the correct guess. Now, a lot of people I've noticed, there's a fascination with the bookmobile. And I've talked to some of the people, our staff who drive the bookmobile, and they talk about how people love to wave at them when they're driving down the street.
Yes.
And I know that when I first went in there, it was incredible. I mean, you saw the computer stations, and they have really good new releases like any of our library branches. I think they even have books for sale, like our Friendly Finds books
I believe
do.
so, yes.
And it's such a fun experience to go into that and get a book and
It
return
is.
a book and meet the staff. And they'll have activities there. So you're right. Many people don't get the opportunity to be on those routes. April 14th.
But if you have a chance, go on
gotta
April
see it.
14th. It's amazing to see how much of the library they can fit in that vehicle.
It is, and I think a lot of people don't realize that their collection, they have their own separate collection.
Yes.
Just like all the rest of the locations. And also, if you want a book and you're on that bookmobile route, they'll get that book delivered to the bookmobile and you will get that book. So not just doing outreach, but that staff works so hard to get books in the hands of people who can't make it out to our locations. Let's celebrate them. April 14th, it'll be a spring day. It'll
Absolutely.
be really great to come out and see that bookmobile. Also, we're going to be doing another series now on the third Thursday of every month. Also at the Mackenzie Room, we're going to do Let's Get Real documentary films. We've selected a variety of documentary films. It's kind of a genre that gets unnoticed, I think, a lot of times, but it can be very thought-provoking and sometimes controversial. We will be kicking off the season on April 17th, I believe, with When We Were Kings. And When We Were Kings was an amazing documentary. I'm going to tell everybody right now, even if you think you don't like boxing, you will like this documentary. It documents the rumble in the jungle between George Foreman. We all know George Foreman and all of his kids named George for selling grills.
Yeah, we all have his grill.
We all have his grill. It's survived many college dormitories and adult homes. And his fight against Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is absolutely captivating at any point. He's just fun to watch. There's so much relevant politics and issues and interrelationships in this film. And interspersed with that, you get wonderful interviews with people like Norman Mailer, who actually went to the Rumble in the Jungle in Manila and documented it in his book, The Fight. And he will give you his perspective on being ringside in that. So even if you don't like sports, come out, you'll enjoy this. And if you really think you won't like sports, wait until next month. We'll have a totally different topic. So Let's Get Real film series.
Absolutely.
We can't talk about April without We have a huge event that goes on in April. It's Easter.
It's Easter.
It's Easter.
Yes.
And so let's talk a little bit about what's going on for Easter at
Yes.
the library.
Well, we have some Easter crafts, which
Yes.
we have crafts every month, but the big event is Easter egg hunts. We have 2 of them
We do.
for the public. The first one is on April 18th. That's the Friday before Easter, and Good Friday, I suppose. And that will be at the Lakeview branch at 2 p.m. and probably over promptly at 2:05 because it's only going to last as long as all the eggs
Are there?
last. Yes.
Yeah.
So they ran out pretty quickly last year. So I heard that they're going to have a lot more eggs available this
Good.
year, but still, you know,
Get there.
don't get there at 2:15.
No.
It's going to be over.
I'd recommend they get there early and then they stretch with some light calisthenics.
Maybe.
To get ready with maybe some plyometrics. And then they go crazy. And
Yes.
recently, on March 8th, we unveiled the Lakeview Reading Room.
Yes.
We introduced the public to Madison, the new children's librarian. If you did not get a chance to make it to that event, peek your head in, say hi to Madison, see what kind of fantastic programs they're doing at Lakeview. And this is going to be, I think, the first kind of Easter egg hunt of the season. So there are going to
Yes.
be a lot of people there. Get there early.
Now, if you can't get there,
Yes.
Saturday, the following day,
Yes.
Lincoln Branch is having their annual Easter egg hunt. And these ladies at Lincoln have been doing it for years.
They've got it down.
They ask the maintenance staff not to mow the grass there in the park around the library.
That's right. They
So
wanna
that
make it
those
tough.
eggs can hide. And I forget how many. I feel like there are like 1,000 or
I feel like
more.
that is not unusual. Yes.
Yeah, and also will probably only last 5 minutes because
Yes.
there will be lots of kids there looking for eggs. So get there early, but they throw a great party. Sometimes.
Easter Bunny shows up at
I
their
believe
party.
he does. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's been known to do that. So
They do. They have that is kind of an amazing event out there.
Mm-hmm.
They have it down to a science. But again, get there early.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't, first of all, you can go to either or. You can go to both of them if you want to.
Right.
Maybe you want to go to something else on that Saturday, but space is limited. So
Yes.
if people are really interested in this next program, they have to get their name on a list because
That's right.
everybody wants it. It's the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah.
But space is limited. Tell us what it is.
Minecraft. This is the newest craze in computer gaming, and I think I'm too old to really get the bug, but
Right.
it's kids love it. Minecraft, for those who aren't really familiar with it, is I call it Legos on the computer. It's a little more complicated than that, but it's building things, and you actually do mine a little bit, and there are monsters that come out at night that you have to fight off for your survival. And so we've had a couple of Minecraft programs now in our computer lab at the main library. You get 20 kids, grade school kids, in a room playing a computer game together. It's a little noisy, but they have a blast.
What's the minimum age to participate in this?
We're saying 3rd grade. We have had a couple kids who are a little younger that already know how to play. So if you don't know how to play, we'd like you to be 3rd grade or a little older. If you do know how to play already,
Come on in.
that's great if we have room. But you do need to register ahead of time because we run out of room very quickly.
And it's 12 to 4. I mean, that's a long time. So,
It is.
for a parent to come and sit down and wait with their child, they need to be aware of that as well.
Yes.
We do have, again, our Friendly Finds book room. It's a Saturday. They'll be open from 1 to 4 during that time. It's a great time to browse. But when I was down there, it looked like there were kids who were playing. We have a screen that's projecting the play onto a
Yes.
wall. And it looked like, to me, they were playing against each other.
They are playing against each other.
Okay.
There are a few different game modes.
So you can play by yourself in your own
Yeah,
little...
yeah. You can just
Okay.
create things, build things, or you can go in the player versus player where they fight each other and they form alliances. And it was amazing how quickly the kids formed teams and were building fortresses and
Yeah.
protecting themselves against the other teams. And it's incredible. I don't have the patience for it, but these kids loved it.
Well, and interestingly, I think Minecraft, more than any other computer program that we've kind of seen or computer game, Parents seem to love this game because it provides children with the opportunity to learn how to actually do basic computer building, for a lack of a better word.
Yes,
Programming skills.
It kind of sneakily teaches
Yeah.
kids how to do basic computer programming because you have to, they call it crafting, you have to craft tools and you have to learn the right combination of things that you would need to make something. And so there's math involved, there's science, logic, physics. There are all sorts of things that play in this game. It's not just
Sitting down and
it's not
pulling out
just
the
wasting
Atari.
time. Yes.
Right. I mean, just to age myself a little bit.
It's not Frogger.
It's not Frogger, Ms. Pac-Man, unfortunately, which I don't remember learning much out of that. Also, something really exciting to think about, something new on April 22nd. Of course, spring is coming, as I've said. I know it's coming. I say it often because I think it's going to happen. But farmers markets are going to start opening up, and Lakeview is going to do a special program called Eat Local.
Got Local.
Got Local.
The benefits of eating local food and how to get it.
Oh, yeah.
This
So
is going to be
important right
presented by a couple who runs a farm, and they're going to talk about how to find local foods, how to support local farmers.
Yeah.
And local food, homegrown food is really good for you
best.
and tastes really good too. So they're gonna offer some tips on how to do that, and for families or individuals or just anybody.
Perfect. It's timely and it's topical.
Yes.
And then to end April, we're going to have music in the Mackenzie. This is going to be a joy. We are inviting, yes, it's a return trip. It's Sally Barris. We met her last year with the Waymores, and she's part of this trio, and yet in this trio, all three musicians are independent. She's written songs for big-time names, Kathy Mattea. She lives in Nashville. She is a very diminutive woman, but boy, does she have a voice, and we cannot get enough of Sally Barris. So that's going to be a blast. We're becoming Little Nashville right at the North Branch. So
and
that's
I
wonderful.
think she's written for my favorite singer, Martina McBride,
She has.
as well. So no pressure, Sally Barris.
No pressure, Sally Barris, but I'm sure you won't deliver like Martina. Equal to, but maybe not as good. But she's excellent in her own right. So anyway, gosh, Carla, it's been fun. The time just flies whenever we sit down. We never get to sit and just visit about what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
We're just too busy working.
We are.
So once again, you can catch up on all of our programs at peoriapubliclibrary.org. You can find out the information for anything, for any of our branches, any time of the month. Just visit our calendar. You can also access our ebooks or any of our local history collection stories. You can also sign up for our digital edition of Passages, or while in any of our locations or on the bookmobile, get a print copy and you can find out what's going on. Until we see you next week, thanks so much and have a good night.